Vasholmarna is a small and beautiful archipelago situated just west of Grundsund, on the Bohuslän coast of Sweden. The group of islets lies exposed to the open Skagerrak, yet provides surprisingly good shelter in the right conditions. It's a favorite destination for Swedish and Norwegian boaters who seek a peaceful anchorage surrounded by raw, unspoiled nature. The islands are low, rocky, and typical of the Bohuslän coastline, smooth granite polished by ice and wind, with patches of heather and hardy grass. From the islets, you have a magnificent view westward to the horizon and eastward toward the narrow channels leading back to Grundsund and Skafto. Vasholmarna has long been used as a natural harbor by fishermen and sailors. In earlier centuries, the islands served as temporary fishing bases during the rich herring periods that shaped much of Bohuslän's economy. Remnants of old fishing huts and stone foundations can still be found on the islands, reminders of when small wooden boats came here to process and salt herring on site. In more recent times, the area has become popular among recreational sailors, particularly Norwegians, who appreciate the tranquility, clear water, and proximity to Grundsund. Despite its increasing popularity, Vasholmarna retains its wild and untouched character. We were here all alone for most of the day, but towards the evening a small Norwegian group of boats arrived and moored next to us. All of us had lines ashore behind our boats. We agreed in advance on our departure time so that we wouldn't have to wake anyone abruptly when we left. It worked out very well. There was quite a bit of traffic through the passage by Lyr, but we weren't much disturbed by waves, so the night was pleasant. Today we're leaving fairly early from our beautiful cove at Lyr near Vasholmarna. The weather forecast predicts worsening conditions later in the day, so today we'll travel inside the islands. We're now heading north. The weather is expected to be rather bad, with rain and quite a bit of wind throughout the day and night. Even so, we're heading out to Vasholmarna, a beautiful group of islands out in the sea outside Grundsund. The night turned out to be more dramatic than we had expected, though not for us. It started when a sailboat drifted ashore before midnight and was rescued by the lifeboat service. They were the only boat anchored from the stern, the rest of us were moored to the rocks, which is an advantage when there's a lot of wind and the area is somewhat sheltered from waves. Everything went well with both the crew and the boat. A bit later in the night, the boat moored furthest forward on our island had to leave because the waves became too troublesome. It was a boat of about 50 feet. The boat in front of us had also had a rough night, mostly because they had used lines that were a bit too short, and when there are some waves, the boat jerks and pulls, making it hard to sleep. We, on the other hand, were lucky with our spot. It was a bit more protected, and we had long lines in all directions, so even with some waves we lay very comfortably and slept well through the night. We were fortunate to have gotten that spot. I had thought that the large boat moored on the south side of our island had a decent place too, but that turned out not to be the case in strong winds from the south-southwest.
en plass der. Men jeg prøver litt lenger inn her først.
Ja, jeg finner fra stigen også.
Ja.
Det mest mulig klart.
Then we arrive at Vasholmarna. We're lucky, the sailboat in the picture is just leaving the spot I wanted. That turns out to be a stroke of luck later in the night, as the other boats on the same island don't have as much protection from the weather as we do. The bad weather has just arrived as well. The wind has picked up quite a bit, and the rain starts just as we're mooring. We're a bit fortunate that it's still dry on land. It can get very slippery once the rain comes. What I don't realize at the time is that the thrusters are barely working. I didn't know the reason until I later hauled the boat out of the water. See my detailed video showing all the marine growth on the thruster propellers. Because of that, I'm getting very little power when using the thrusters. The wind is quite strong and blowing us toward the island where we're trying to dock, so I have to abort my first attempt. I notice that I can't slow the boat down effectively. On the second attempt, I steer closer to the island before beginning the maneuver, so that I don't drift as far and the speed is lower when I come alongside.
Gjør det bra i fendere, Katrine, for det blåser veldig, så vi må ha fenderne klare med en gang her. Det er en fender vi skal legge oss inn til der. Ja. Det er greit ut da. Ja, treffer fenderne. Se at fenderne treffer nå da. Nei, nå blir vi tatt. Faen. Ikke sjans. Jeg må inn igjen. Ja.
Da skal jeg prøve å være litt kjapp med tauet foran, eller ikke?
Det var vanskeligere enn jeg trodde.
For nå tar de den plassen der, som hadde vært mye lunere.
Ja, jeg skjønner det, Katrine. Men jeg prøver å komme litt nærmere på her. nå? Ja.
And here is the same sequence seen from the outside, at about 10 times speed. It turned into a somewhat stressful maneuver, as often happens in strong winds. You have very little time to make decisions, the boat drifts quickly, and there's not much room to maneuver when the wind really catches. The following day, the weather was nicer and the wind had eased a bit. So I flew the drone to take some photos and video of this beautiful place.